Hello Year 10, it's Mrs Crickmore here, and as part of the core team we'd like to introduce the revision tips for success in preparation for your mock exams that will be happening after half term. So which approaches for revision really work? So there are strategies that have high impact, that means they're really effective, some strategies that are quite effective, so medium, and some actually that are not effective at all. And within this clip, we would like to give you an overview of the things that really work. Now, I've got some examples on the screen, which I will start to talk through as we go into the clip. So the things that are really effective are making something called flashcards that have key revision ideas on them. And we'll talk through what those actually are later on in the clip. This is where you would use those flashcards to then test yourself and friends. And the other really effective way of revising is actually to do each topic little and often. So now I'm moving on to the column in the middle of the screen. So the things that are quite effective, they're only if you combine them with the really effective stuff, is where you make things called mind maps that summarise and rewrite your notes. Also within those mind maps or record cards, you can actually highlight and underline key notes from within your books. Now, the things to stop doing and to not even consider is intensive revision. You might otherwise hear it being called cramming. So the night before, where people would sit down and try and get as much information in their brain as they possibly can. That's really not effective. Your brain will struggle with that because ultimately, to be able to effectively revise, you want things to go into your long-term memory. And if you're cramming it, all it will be able to do is to stay in your short-term memory and then disappear quite quickly. So that's why revising little and often is really important. Also, stop doing just the reading of class notes. You might look at your class notes and think, actually, that's really familiar, but it doesn't mean that you have remembered it. And also making mnemonics, that's where you would use letters to kind of sequence events or remember something. But if you have too many mnemonics to remember, that actually defeats the whole purpose of revision. Now, fact one is to revise little and often. Now, getting organised is really important. Building a revision timetable. As I've put down the side, good structures prevent stress. So, for instance, after completing your home learning, think about those subjects and information you're going to revise and put them in a structure. I've given an example on the screen. So you may say, on Monday, I've scheduled in at 7 o'clock, I'm going to focus on my English literature quotes. And then at 7:30, I'm going to look at my history record cards or flashcards to support my revision. And each session, revision session, will be roughly about 20 minutes long. So the next thing is, where can I get information on what to revise? So your teachers will talk through what information you need to revise, and that will be in the form of something called topic lists. They will start to provide revision guides and knowledge organisers of the key information that you need for your assessments. Please also make sure that you check Google Classrooms, and there's some lovely online resources that teachers have posted, as well as checking other resources such as GCSE Pod, Tassami, Seneca, and Hegarty Maths. Fact 2, make record cards and flashcards. So what's a record card? And I also want to talk about mind maps as well. So these are places where you would record key facts and information, things that you don't know that you need to revise. Organise that information in key topics and ideas, and you may have some pictures alongside the words to support your revision. So down the side, we've got summarising and rewriting your notes onto the record cards, maybe putting them in the form of a mind map, and highlighting and underlining key things that you need to remember. Miss Pye has very kindly shared with me an example of a mind map, where you've taken key bits from your notes and put them all into one place, where there are quotes, where there are important facts that you need, and this one is based on an inspector calls. So the next point I wanted to talk about is to talk it through. Now, this one's quite easy actually, but it works well with the rest of the other revision techniques. So this is where you would explain your understanding to friends and family. And then from that, you will be able to identify the areas that you still need to work on. Because it might be a case that when you're explaining it, you may not be using the key words that you need to, or you may have forgotten how to explain something. So that then tells you that you need to go back and re-look at that and re-revise it. Now, talk about all of your knowledge all of the time, because the more you talk about it, the more you practice it, the more it is going to go into your long-term memory. And as it says there, be annoying with your supreme memory skills. Act 3, test yourself. And now I'm just going to hand over to Mr. Coyne to talk about the next slide. Thank you.
So once you've finished making your mind maps and your record cards, as we said, the best thing you can do is to test yourself. This is a really important revision strategy and is shown to be really, really effective. The best way to do this is to start off by making a series of flashcards with the key revision ideas. If you have questions on one side of the flashcard and then the answers on the other side, sort of like this, so you've got questions one side, answers on the other, then you can test yourself with other people or test yourself by yourself. That means it doesn't matter where you are. If you've got a series of flashcards, you can be doing your revision. So you can also get your friends to help you with this, your family to help you with this, and there's lots of websites which help you with this as well, things like Seneca Learning, GCSE Pod, and Tassamai. You can then actually sort your flashcards out into red, amber, and green piles to show which ones you understand most and which ones you need more practice on. The more you quiz yourself, the better your recall of this knowledge will become and the easier it will be for you in the future. However, what should you do if you still don't understand it at this point?
Practice exam questions are a really good way to revise. They're a real-time method for practicing your exam knowledge and techniques. Your teachers will be happy to help you with the marking, or you could actually use a mark scheme to help gain a deeper understanding of the content of the exam. This is an example of a practice exam paper, and it looks very similar to an actual exam paper. So it will help you build your confidence and you won't be so daunted when you get into the exam. Every practice exam paper comes with a mark scheme. And as I've said, you can either ask your teacher to help you use this or you can use it yourself. Thank you.
Hello, Mrs. Crickmore again. Looking after yourself during exams is really important. So here are some of the ways that you can do that. Number 1, get plenty of sleep. Now, going to bed at the same time every night is important because you'll be able to stay out late as much as you like when the exams are over. Now, eating properly is also really important. A balanced diet to give you the right amount of energy to be able to engage in your exams and to be alert and positive. Keep moving. Exercise can train your brain like a good diet. Regular exercise will make you more alert and positive. And don't use your phone just before you go to bed. To get the right type of sleep, you need to be able to clear your mind and wind down first. Now, the other thing that I just wanted to quickly talk through, I know some of your teachers in English and maths have mentioned, are the Immersion Days. Now, Immersion Days focus on supporting and developing your exam practice. And we're looking specifically at this time in English and maths. Your other teachers will talk through that within your other subjects as well. Now, we are doing this to prepare you for your mock exams, as I've mentioned, that are coming up after half term. So the way that this is going to work is that you're going to have an immersion week next week in maths. So that means on Monday and Tuesday, you will be in your normal maths lessons and you'll do something called a walking, talking mock. Then on Wednesday, you're going to go into maths for period 1 and period 2 to finish that walking, talking mock experience. So that's next week. The week after, just before half term, you'll then have an immersion week in English. So it will be exactly the same type of process, but obviously you will be in English instead. So on Monday and Tuesday, you will have your normal lessons in English. And then on Wednesday, you will be in English for period 1 and period 2 to finish that that walking, talking mock experience. Now, when previous year 11s have left, this is one of the things in their surveys when they leave that they say has the most impact. So please engage in this. It is really to support your exam practice and build your confidence when you go into your mock exams. Now, I just want to remind you about some of the things that I've already spoken through. What is your goal? What is your aspiration? What was your I can be statement? Please keep that at the forefront of your mind, because everything that you do is working towards that. Because at City Academy Norwich, your aspirations, your goals, and your academic progress is really important to us, as well as developing your character. Because with all of these things together, you truly can become the best version of yourself. Thank you for listening, Year 10.